Actor and global superstar Deepika Padukone launched her skincare brand 82 East last November with 2 products. 1 year, several products later, we are catching up with Deepika herself to share her journey, her entrepreneurial journey over the past 1 year and journey of 82 East along with co-founder Jigar Shah. Welcome to CNBC-TV18, Deepika. Welcome to CNBC-TV18, Jigar.
Thank you for inviting us.
So Deepika, let's begin with you. Tell us about your journey over the past 1 year with 82 East and what are the key learnings of this journey?
Oh, wow. Well, I think the journey's been extremely gratifying, but at the same time, I think we've also learned a lot. You know, when you embark on any new journey, and especially an entrepreneurial journey, of course, I think we were set for, you know, that it's going to be a lot of work, especially because we decided that we wanted to do this ourselves ground up. You know, and there were a lot of offers before we got into this for us to partner with people and for me to just put my name to something and do it. But I think I was very, very clear that this is something I wanted for us to do on our own. So of course, with that in mind, sure, we launched last November, but you know, we've been working on the brand for a good 2 years before that.
Yeah.
So of course, you know, I think one was prepared for the amount of work that goes into building a brand. But I think post-launch, you realize that actually that's where the journey begins. Yeah. You know, it's not like you've launched and then it's over. That's actually where the real work starts. Yes. So it's definitely been a lot more work than you know, than I had anticipated, but very, very gratifying. And I think, like you said, when we started with 2 products, now we have 12 products in our portfolio. We're gearing up for other categories as well. So yes, it's been very, very, and also to see our community grow. But most importantly, to also see the kind of feedback that we've received for all of our products, for all of our communication, consumer feedback. I think all of that has been very, very gratifying, and I think that's the energy that we get from our consumers to keep going every day.
Yeah, and you mentioned 12 products now, with 2 products last year and 12 products now, and new categories that you're getting into. Jigar, if you can share more details on the new categories that are coming up for 82 East.
I think you'll know very soon, so stay tuned. But I can say that they're very, very exciting, more like a natural extension of what we've done so far. And yeah, that's all I can talk about right now.
Is it something else?
Well, I mean, I think they'll always be within the realm of self-care because that's at the end of the day, we are a self-care brand. It's something that means a lot to me. In my own personal journey, self-care has been a huge part in how I'm able to function on a daily basis. And so therefore, we were very, very clear that the core of it is a self-care brand. And you know, the fact that there was a gap in the market combined with, I think I fell in that place, which was, I personally felt, I think we reached a place where skincare was extremely overwhelming. Complex routines, multiple steps, you know, multiple brands selling you different ideas. And I was actually that person that felt overwhelmed by the amount of information. And I'm on that side that, you know, I didn't have that much knowledge about skincare, but I wanted for whatever I used, for it to be simple, but at the same time be extremely effective.
And a lot of Indian ingredients is something that I have noticed. Ashwagandha, Manjishta. Talk to us about the formulations, you know, of some of these products that you've launched.
So the basis of the formulation was basically, again, like I said, when I felt as a consumer, when I felt overwhelmed with the amount of the number of brands that were there, and the kind of products that were out there in the market, complex layering, complex ingredients. And should I use a brand that is based in Ayurveda, or should I be using a brand that is backed by science? And I remember Jigar and I talking almost 3 years ago, and I said, is it possible for us to kind of have all of it in one bottle? It was as simple as that. And we took it to our R&D, and they said, yeah, of course. And we said, you know, is it going to compromise on efficacy? Absolutely not. And that's the basis of our formulations. And then of course, you know, whether it's different skin types, whether it's hydration levels, that's how we go about our formulations. And then of course we rely highly on our R&D team as well to tell us what are the best ingredients based on our vision. And then of course I'm the first one, I'm the guinea pig. I'm absolutely the first one in the system that will try out anything even before it goes into clinical trials or dermat trials. So,
and then you give the feedback.
Of course, so I try it first. I try them for at least a week, if not more. Sometimes it goes on for a couple of months, depending on how what my feedback is. And then once I give a green signal is when it then goes into clinical and trials and
Yeah, an interesting strategy also adopted over the past 1 year, few new products every few weeks, every few months. So how has that worked for the brand Jigar?
Sure. So look, I think one of the things that both Deepika and I believed from the very beginning is just because there is a celebrity, there shouldn't be a business. A business should exist because of a consumer and a consumer pain point, right? So ideally a business should be solving. So there was a need gap, yeah. There was a need gap, right? So for us, we had to deploy a drop strategy kind of an approach. Of course, as entrepreneurs, you have a read on the market. You believe that there is a certain pain point, but is that truly even existing? You believe that you have a solution for the pain point, but is that truly being loved by our consumers, right? And the best way to sort of do it was to have a piecemeal kind of launches and not just like dump 10 products in the market and, and then see how it goes. Be smart about it. What in tech parlance, and you're a tech journalist, so you'll appreciate this. In tech parlance, what we call lean startup kind of a methodology. So that's something that we deployed even in a consumer product kind of a company, where we start small, take it to market, learn from consumers, iterate, get the feedback, and then we launch more products, right? So for us, year one from a business standpoint has been about that, and I think the drop strategy has worked out very well. It's evidence in the fact that our repeat rates at launch were about 20%. Now in September, the most recent data that we have, our repeat rates are about 60%. Our NPS score at the beginning was 54. After 6 months, scaled to 60, and it's now 65.
Yeah.
And 65, that puts us in the league of some of the best sort of global companies, not just in BPC, but outside BPC as well. Our CSAT scores, or our product rating on each and every of our product on average about 4.3, 4.4 on a scale of 5. So I think there is enough and more of that evidence of our products working, our read on the market being correct, our value proposition being correct, right? So that sets us very, very well for now expansion.
And Deepika mentioned that she is the guinea pig for all the products that are being launched. So what is the kind of feedback that you get from her whenever you're launching a new product? Any interesting anecdotes if you can share, Jigar?
I think it's a very, very deep iterative kind of a process. She's a perfectionist. So unless and until she feels really confident about a certain product, she will not give a go ahead. And that's exactly what we want out of her, right? Because the product needs to reflect her as the entrepreneur, her as the co-founder of the company and the soul of the brand, right? So yeah, I think that's really what we look out for, and that's exactly what she delivers. And as she said, she tests these products before it goes into clinical and dermat.
Yeah.
I mean, dermatological studies, right? So she actually is putting herself at risk and trying all of these products first before it goes into tests, and after those tests is when we launch in the market.
And which one has been your favorite product, and which one has been a consumer favorite, Deepika?
My favorite, again, I mean, just based on my skin type, actually right at the start was Patchouli Glow and Bakuchi All Slip. But that again for me, like now is the time it would come out again for me. Just based on the weather conditions and everything. But normally I have normal to dry skin. Having said that, just based on the fact that I wear makeup, based on the fact that I'm constantly in front of lights, we're shooting outdoor, humid conditions, etc. Mostly my go-to is Lotus Splash, followed by Rose Boost, followed by Ashwagandha Bounce, and then Turmeric Shield. But now is when a Patchouli Glow would come out. Now is when a Bakuchi All would come out.
Yeah. And consumer favorite?
Consumer favorite, I think these three again are consumer favorites. Cucumber Quench, I think, is also one of those I know a lot of people will say Manjishta mud, and I will come to that. Manjishta mud again is a consumer favorite, the pack. But I think Cucumber Quench and Licorice Beam are again, you know, if I were to pick something slightly different, I do feel like these two are also consumer favorites.
Deepika, when you guys launched the product last year, there was sort of a backlash on social media platform when it came to pricing of 82 East. So how did you recover from there? Many consumers said it's very, very expensive.
Yeah.
So how did you recover from there? Whom are you targeting, you know, with 82 East? If you can throw in more details, and you know, if you can share, how did you deal with that backlash in the first place?
Sure, of course. I mean, I think specifically on pricing, I'll have Jigar come in, but you know, I don't think it's a come back or bounce back. I think I think the way we've been able to do that is to be consistent and to be true to who we are. And I think that's how we've been able to grow a successful brand in the last 1 year. And we will continue to do that. And I think as far as celebrity brands or celebrities in general getting, you know, backlash or getting trolled, I think it's you know, it's a part of what we do. And I think as long as you put your head down and you keep going, and you're, like I said, I think as long as you're true and honest to what you do, I think you'll always you know, move ahead of the tide. Yeah.
This space also has some of the legacy beauty players,
Yeah.
skincare players present. So how do you deal with that competition, considering they're also getting very aggressive on digital channels?
I think again, what Deepika rightly said, right? Staying true to who we are and what we are here for. The pain point that we saw in the market was that of skincare being very complex, that being a lot of content overload. We wanted to focus on simplifying that entire world of skincare, especially in a country like India, which is still at a very infancy stage in terms of skincare or beauty in general. So staying true to our simplification story, what we call the cleanse, hydrate, protect, or the CHP framework. It's unique to 82 East, and focusing on our consumers versus focusing outside, right? That's really how we sort of approach.
And Deepika, when you guys started off with 82 East last year, I saw you actively, you know, interacting with influencers, going out there, spending time with them, explaining the products, using the products with them. If you look at the journey over the past, you know, 1 year, of course, a lot of customer base would definitely have been built through this influencer engagement. But how exactly, other than that, have you built the customer base for 82 East over the past 1 year?
I think it's to be a consumer myself first. You know, I'm not one of those celebrities, you know, and I don't know what other people do, honestly, but I'm someone who just, I walk the talk. So if I'm selling you a 2,500 rupee product, then rest assured I'm also using it every day. And I think that's the best way to build your consumer base. You know, of course, apart from that, there are you know, other ways in which we engage our community, and it's a consistent, you know, I think we do that consistently, we do that authentically, we do that honestly. But I think there's no better way than to walk the talk.
Jigar, if you see over the past 1 year and moving forward also, the D2C market is expected to grow exponentially to the tune of, let's say, somewhere around $100 billion. And fashion and beauty brands specifically are supposed to be the growth drivers going forward. Being in this space, what are the areas, you know, or what is the growth strategy that you have, and areas that you will invest in going forward?
It's a good question. I think D2C, I believe, will not be the sole channel for distribution. It will coexist with other channels, and I think there's a lot of talk both ways about D2C not working as well as D2C being the mainstay, and I feel like D2C exists somewhere in the center. So as long as businesses look at D2C more as a sort of a channel to be closer to their consumer, to understand and talk to their consumer, I think those are aspects that I would think will work, and that's where we constantly invest a lot of time in making something which is very, very consumer centric. In fact, that's precisely the reason why we've been D2C only so far for the last 1 year. And now we feel like we are at a point where we'll expand into multiple channels, right? So I would say investing in a very consumer focused kind of an approach and utilizing D2C for that purpose makes a lot of sense. In addition to that, I would say like focusing a bit on logistics and warehousing. I think that there are a lot of sort of areas of improvement there, right? So those are two aspects where you can utilize tech and build something which is truly value accretive for your consumers.
Any plans to go offline as well?
Absolutely. I think we are at a point where, and this was a conscious choice, it was a strategy that we deployed from day zero, that for the first year we're going to be D2C online only, get it to a point where we feel like we have enough of a product assortment, get it to a point where we feel like, as I mentioned, right, like our solution is even working, right? And then spend money in expansion. So expansion is not just across channel, whether it's offline or marketplaces. Expansion is also geography. And expansions also, as we discussed earlier in the
Any
conversation.
specific markets that both of you are looking at? Any specific markets that you guys have discussed?
Well, we're a brand born in India for the world, so take your cue from that.
Oh, for the world.
Having said that, we do, I mean, we currently ship to over 50 countries. We already do that, and we've been doing that. We started, I think, with 36 countries, if I'm not mistaken, and now up to 50 countries. I don't know if you want to share more.
I mean, we have capabilities to ship to about 150 countries, right? And when we say it's not a loose statement that I'm making, there are 3 layers of execution challenges that you have to solve when you want to ship outside. The first layer is, of course, logistics. Second layer is customs. And the third layer is the FDA or the regulatory sort of a framework specific to that country, and that changes from country to country, right? So when we say we've cracked that, it's a big deal, because at least for us, from an execution standpoint, it's a lot of work to be able to have that confidence that we can ship to 150 countries. And as she said, we've already shipped to 50 plus countries.
Beauty and skincare brands are moving beyond just speaking about ingredients and actively driving conversations, when it comes to shaping culture, shaping perceptions. So how do you look at this as the responsibility, as your responsibility, being a brand custodian and being an entrepreneur, being the founder of 82 East?
Again, I think it's about being authentic and being honest. And of course, I think, being when you're in that place and in that position, it extends into every aspect of everything that you do. So, not just in the beauty, beauty space, but I think even with the choice of films that you make, I think with that comes a sense of responsibility. And I'm not saying everyone's always going to get it right, but the endeavor is that, the attempt is that. But I think most importantly, I think you have to be authentic and honest to everything that you do.
Although Deepika is at the heart of marketing for 82 East, the brand has also weaved an interesting brand strategy around product drop, owning key cultural moments over the past 1 year. 82 East's Chief Marketing Officer gives more details.
The brand's journey linked to the product drop strategy that you're well aware of is to look at local and global moments and convert them into brand moments that we can embrace and use those moments to educate our consumers and inform our consumers about our products, about our ingredients, about our formulations, and also inform them about simple self-care practices that they can imbibe in their everyday lives. So that's what we've been busy doing for this past 1 year. And through it all, I think we've developed a strong community of followers, not just on our social media platforms, but also a really strong user base.
Yeah, and also a lot of engagement with the influencers is what I have seen since the launch of 82 East. Tell us, how has that worked? And some of the pros and cons and do's and don'ts when you engage with influencers for a brand like 82 East.
we are a celebrity owned brand, and so we surely know, and we rely and leverage the power of our celebrity co-founder Deepika Padukone to kind of use the power of her influence on her community and our community to drive forward this whole notion of self-care and of skincare.
Yeah, and one of the things that I noticed particularly about 82 East is, as you know, as a brand, it started with 2 products. I remember back then in November 2022, and over the past couple of months, there has been a new product drop, you know, is what I have seen by the brand. So how do you, like, you know, probably make a strategy around, you know, that, make a marketing strategy around every new product that is being launched in frequent intervals?
So the product drop strategy of launching a product every month was a very intentional strategy. It was a very thought through and a very intentional strategy of our organization. So to keep pace with that, we in the marketing function had to come up with a strategy that will keep the excitement going, in fact build curiosity towards what is the next product from this brand, right? So our game plan was to ensure that we constantly build curiosity while at the same time educating our consumers and informing them about the products that have already been launched. We leverage cultural moments, we leverage local and global moments that our celebrity co-founder Deepika Padukone is involved in. It could be a movie release of hers, it could be a global moment or an occasion that she is participating in, or very often we've leveraged the community to be involved in the launches of our products. So we come up with innovative and new creative ways to launch our product.
To drop a new product.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Shabani.